Hi, welcome to episode 251 of The Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where every episode's show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea where I sell my handspun yarns, and we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Hi, how are you? It is Monday, October 21st. It feels like forever since I have spoken with you because I have had a lot happen in the last week. I wanted to welcome those of you who are new to the podcast and thank all of those of you who have been tuning in for a while now, and especially those of you who left kind comments on my last episode, which was episode 250. We had 15 comments, and when I ran the random number generator to see who the winner would be, the comment picked was number 6, and that is Ryan. So Ryan, please get in touch with me. You can pick a skein of handspun out of my shop, whatever you would like, and I will also send it to you with this project bag, which was produced by Knit and Stitch Bits. She is in Australia, and she makes lovely bags. Thank you for your comments and for watching along, and you can get in touch with me either on Ravelry, where I am Fluffy K, or you can email me at ldwcameron@gmail.com, or contact me on Instagram or Twitter, wherever is convenient for you. Just let me know what your choice is and where I should be sending it. So congratulations, Ryan, and again, thank you to all of you. I read all your comments. It seems like you want me to talk more about my knitting projects. You also want me to talk more about spinning, which unfortunately this month probably isn't going to get as much coverage, but I will keep that in mind because I do want to keep spinning and talking about it. And I guess that's about it for that. So what have I been doing since I saw you last? Anna and I recorded last Sunday, so that was a day early, but that was when she was available to come help me. And since then, life has been a whirlwind. My husband is a runner. I have discussed that before. And this past weekend, he did something called Ragnar. Ragnar, in this case, we did the Bourbon Chase Ragnar, which means we went through Kentucky. Specifically, we took a kind of circuitous route from Louisville to Lexington, which is not quite 200 miles, but the route that the runners ran was over 200 miles. We went by distilleries and all kinds of fun things. So Ragnar is a 200-mile, in this case I think it was 202.9. It is a relay race for 12 runners, or usually 12 runners, to run over a 36-hour period. So what happens is if you have 12 runners, you split into 2 vans of 6 and 6, and each van has a driver, and you alternate on course. So we were van 1. The race started at 6:15 on Friday morning, sorry. So we drove to Kentucky on Thursday, which is about an 8-hour drive from where we are. And then at 6:15 on Friday morning, which was cold, it was in the 40s, we were out at the Jim Beam Distillery, which was a little spooky. It was super foggy and kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it was 6:15 in the morning, so it was super dark. And we launched our first runner. We then met up every 5 to 7 miles, it just depends how long, to transfer runners because it was a relay race. So we would, meet and pick up runner 1 and drop off runner 2, etc. And we pulled our 6th runner off the course about noon that day at the Maker's Mark Distillery. And then we had about 5 or 6 hours to drive to the next start point for us. And then we also got some food and some rest, not a lot, it was about 2 hours. And then we were back on the course. And while we were off the course, our counterpart in van 2 ran. So we ran and I say we, I was a van driver since I do not run very much, but my husband and 11 of his friends ran 202.9 miles in approximately 34 hours and 52 minutes. And we got very, very little sleep. I got about 2 hours on Friday and about 2 hours of sleep on Saturday morning, really early, like 2 to 4 a.m. And then we did not get more sleep until Saturday night when we checked into the hotel. So I drove a big 15-passenger van It is technically still a passenger vehicle, not a commercial vehicle, but it was big and boxy. And so I basically drove on and off for 36 hours. 40 hours and got us where we needed to go. And so it was crazy fun. It was exhausting. The race was run Friday and Saturday. We finished Saturday about 5 p.m. There was a party afterwards. I went to bed super early. I was in bed by 8:30. And we drove home yesterday and got home about 6 p.m. So it was a big, long weekend. I have another crazy weekend coming up because this coming weekend, my husband is running the Marine Corps Marathon in Arlington, Virginia. So we are flying out on Friday and we'll be flying home Monday morning so that he can do that. Now that one will be less trouble for me, but more for him because in this past weekend he ran about 12 miles total. This coming weekend he'll be running the full 26. So it is a big time of travel, some knitting time, not much sleep, a little bit crazy, and that is what I am up to. So let's get into the knitting content because I do actually have some given all of my travels. Today I am drinking Sugar Plum Spice. It is one of these Celestial Seasonings holiday teas. This box is from last year. This was one of my favorite holiday teas, particularly before I started drinking loose leaf tea, and I still usually keep a box of it around. It is an herbal tea featuring hibiscus, chicory, rose hips, chamomile, plum, and cinnamon, ginger, roasted carob, and cardamom, along with some other natural flavors. So it is a lovely tea, and I am drinking it in my, even though it is a Christmas holiday tea, I'm drinking it in my Hello Kitty Trick or Treat mug because it is October and I only get to use that one for so long. So that is what I'm drinking today. It is delicious. It is in the low 50s here today, so not super cold, but a little chilly in the house. And I decided to wear my night shift. This is a shawl by Andrea Mowry, Drea Renee Knits, and I knit it in my handspun. It's a bunch of slip stitch patterning, and it is super warm and cozy. And I should say that I took my Estienne or Essienne with me this weekend and wore it all weekend. It was cold, and a lot of our shifts started in the dark. We ran 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then we ran 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. and then we got back started about 4:30 or 5 a.m. and ran through 12 p.m. again. So a lot of the time it was dark and in the 40s, and I did not take enough woolly things with me, but I did have a nice shawl for my neck. So let's talk about the knits. Last week, technically this is not a finish from last week, it is a finish from the week before, but I forgot to bring it with me last week because in all the hubbub of having a guest and all of our knits, I kind of forgot. The hat you will have seen before. This is the March hat by Kelburn Woolens. It was designed by, I think, Megan Kelly, and I really enjoyed, it's either Megan Babin or Megan Kelly, and I really enjoyed knitting it. I downsized it a bit for Roxy, and this I had knit before, but I put the pom-pom on it when I was done with the mitts, and I had intended on knitting Tin Can Knits Simplest Mittens and just adding the pattern to it, but my yarn was a DK and those mittens call for a worsted weight, so I just on the off chance I found something, I had a gander at what the patterns were on Ravelry for DK weight mittens for children, and wouldn't you know it, I found a mitten pattern that used the exact same stitch pattern as the March hat. So I went ahead and knit those. Those are the Liligull Go mittens. They are by a Nordic designer, but the pattern is written in English, and the stitch pattern matches perfectly. So I went ahead and did some cute matching mittens with her and an I-cord, which is mom approved. I asked mom if I should do the I-cord again, and she said yes. So now I have a cute little hat and mitten set for Roxy that is done. On a side note, the children got their sweaters this weekend, and I got some beautiful pictures of them in the sweaters, and they look so cute. And so I'm excited to see them and give them more knits. So that is what I finished last week, so I can mark that off my list. So let's talk about what I knit this week. I am in the middle of knitting that sweater, which is Paraday by Teresa Gregorio. I showed you last week. The yarn is Zen Yarn Garden Serenity Worsted, which is a merino cashmere blend, and it is not in a named colorway, or at least not that I know. It was just sent to me without any labels, but it is a teal overwashed in black, and it is stunning. I did not want to take the whole sweater with me this weekend because we had a ton of people in the van and snacks and clothes and whatnot. But I decided that it would be the perfect time to take the sleeves with me because the sweater is constructed from the bottom up and the sleeves are added as is yoke shaping. So I am at about 15 inches out of 19 inches on the body before I add the sleeves in. But I went ahead and took the sleeves with me this weekend and I finished them, which was really, really great. All told, it was about 350 meters of knitting, which was excellent. I had to do a little ripping and reknitting, so technically I might have knit a little bit more than that. I'm sorry, 350 yards, but I now have 2 sweater sleeves. And they are just plain stockinette, and then the cuffs are in seed stitch. And I hope you can see how gorgeous this yarn is. It's really hard to take photos of, but it is a teal overwashed with black. It is dark and moody. I did alternate skeins on the sleeves so that I didn't have any pooling or any color differences. So both sleeves are done. I have not tucked in any ends yet, but both sleeves are knit. One is on waste yarn, one is still on my double point needles. These are my US 7's marbles, which are no longer made, but they are by Knitter's Pride. And so these are my sleeves. Now I just need to concentrate on working on the body this week and then adding those in. I haven't decided whether I'm taking the sweater with me or not this weekend. We are flying, so space is at a premium, but I will have time in airports and while Wes is running the marathon to knit. I just haven't decided because it's a pretty big sweater. It's gonna have a hood too, and so it's got a lot of yarn in it, and I just haven't decided. But my plan is to work on it this week and see how far I get, and I may end up just waiting until I get home to do the yoke and the hood and hope that I can crank that out next week. So to be continued on this, but I did finish my sleeves, and I took exactly the right amount of yarn because this is all I have left from the 2 balls. So that was perfect and kept me quite occupied. I knit one of the sleeves on, or a good chunk of one of the sleeves on the way out to Kentucky. I knit most of the other on the way home, and I knit a little bit in Kentucky in between stops. The other thing that I worked on that I talked to you about last week was I was going to start a scarf for Roxy. And I went through a million different patterns and ultimately ended up not using a pattern, just sort of using my own. It's a really simple 2-row, or it's a really simple repeat. I am knitting in 2 colors. The first is Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock, and this is in, or the Sport Sock, I think. I don't have the labels in here. I thought I put them in here. But this is their sport weight sock. So it's a superwash merino and it's in this color purple. I might have gotten this from the Loopy U because it was in the colorway Team Spirit Purple. And I believe Loopy U used to have the Team Spirit colorways. It is a 200 yard skein of yarn. So I thought it wouldn't be quite enough for a scarf for Roxy. So I added this pretty speckled yarn, which I covered last week. This is Potion Yarns. And I do not endorse the dyer, but it is something that was in my stash from before she started behaving badly. So I am using it in combination with the purple, and it is creating this really sweet festive scarf. I am doing basically 2 rows, 1 garter ridge of the purple, and then 4 rows, 2 garter ridges of the speckled, and it is creating this nice rainbowy, my friend called it a super festive scarf. I am just doing garter stitch because I wanted something that I could knit in the dark, which I did, and I am doing just a super simple pattern, carrying the yarns up the sides, and I am using my Signatures US size 6, that's 4.0 millimeters, and it is creating a nice squishy lightweight scarf. My plan is to do this for at least 4 feet, maybe 5, and I think I'm probably at about 12 to 14 inches now, and just keep going until I am done for Miss Roxy's scarf. So that is a scarf for her. I'm kind of kicking butt on getting the kids' knits done. I have some more to do, a few more to do for winter, which I'll show you. And then, like I said, the sample that I need to get done this month, or the commission, is the sweater. So those are what I'm going to focus on. The other thing that I decided that I'm going to bring with me to DC this weekend, because A, I need to get it done, and B, it's a good one skein project, is I need to do a hat and mittens for Miles. And not that long ago, I went to my local yarn store to look for some more superwash worsted weight for Miles, and what I found was Primrose Primrose Yarns, and she does large skeins of worsted weight. This is the Duchess base 4-ply worsted weight, 100% superwash merino, 400 yards, 7.5 ounces, and this is in the colorway Sinatra, which is just this really nice pumpkin-y orange. And so with 400 yards, I plan to get him a hat and mittens. I'll certainly have leftovers, but my thought was I would wind up this skein and take it with me, and I can work on his hat and mittens and her scarf while I am away. And I might even throw in that cowl for myself, just to throw some things in the bag so that I will have lots to knit. And not a lot to, this is a 2 skein project, this is a 1 skein project, and a cowl would be another 2 skein project. So if I decide not to bring the sweater, that's probably what I'll bring with me. So this is up next on my needles. If not this week, then definitely next weekend while I am traveling. So that's the news, and that's kind of the update on my knits. I have not swatched for my Nanny Swaymo sweater yet. I still haven't decided, or if I'm just going to cast on both. I suspect I'll cast on both, which probably means I'll finish neither. But I'm hoping to reserve a little bit of December, although I do have a couple sample knits. I'm hoping to reserve a little bit of December to try and finish off some whips for the year. So, a lot of travel means I don't have a lot to tell you. I still have not plied that yarn. I really, really need to, but I still have not, and it's not looking good for the next couple weekends. So, my guess is I'll get lots of knitting done in the next few weeks and not a lot of spinning, and hopefully I'll return to spinning, maybe more in early November. So, I think that's about all I have to tell you for today. This one's a little short. I should be able to podcast again next Monday because we get home in the morning. So I hope you have a wonderful week coming up. Ryan, please do not forget to contact me so I can get your prize out to you. And I hope you're enjoying your crafting and gearing up. Nanny Swaymo is not actually run in my group. It is run in the Nanny Swaymo group, but we would welcome your participation over there. But if you're not interested in knitting a sweater, I will also kick off in my group as of November 1st, the Gift Cal, which is a knit along, crochet along, sew along, spin along, weave along, anything you are crafting as gifts for the holiday season. You are already crafting them, so why not enter them into an along to be eligible to win some prizes at the end. So I will be setting up that thread shortly, and as of November 2nd, anything counts. Whips are okay as long as they are less than 50% complete as of November 1st, and that will run November 1st through December 31st, and I do run that every single year. So, I think that's all the news that's fit to print for today. I hope you have a wonderful week, and until I see you again, I will say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!